Hello, 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 my lovelies. Welcome back to Blood Boon, and welcome back to the Nightmare of Mensis. There's still some bits and pieces that we need to do here that we haven't seen yet. There are lots and lots of secrets within the nightmare. Yes, if you... Oh, crap. The bell-ringing woman rings a sinister bell. That's not good. That's not good. Yes, the dogs, the crow-headed dogs and the dog-headed crows. It's a weird area, this one. It's a really, really, really weird area. Oh, there's Mergo. Much closer now. I don't know whether you've noticed, but Mergo is much, much closer now. Okay, so... Oh, no! Oh! The bell-ringing women, they make these areas PvP areas. So the server is open. People can come in and fight me. You can turn it off. You can turn it off, but I kind of like it, I've got to admit. So there is now another player wandering around my Nightmare of Mensis. That's not good. Yeah, okay. So this is a little secret area in the Nightmare of Mensis. We need to use some of the blue elixir. I need to put on some sedatives because, yeah, there are winter lanterns here. And they are pains. Oh, look, this concourse is really difficult. This is how I tend to handle it. Because I've never figured out a good way of fighting these things. They always tend to get me with the frenzy. Or they get me with their hideous physical attack. So what I tend to do, take the blue elixir, wait for them to bugger off, and then run past them. That seems to work out rather well. They are beautiful enemies though. Oh no! Oh, she sees me! Oh no! Oh, thank God. Ah, oh, there's another one. Have you noticed the rocks are made from the screaming souls of what I assume to be those who were caught up in the nightmare? So the students of Mensis, essentially. Oh, nightmare apostles, nightmare apostles with human faces. Really kind of distressing. They look kind of priestly, don't they? Once again, I'd assume that these are people who were caught up in the nightmare and who have transformed as a result of their experiences here. It's so Lovecraftian in that regard. You find that kind of thing a lot in the writing of Lovecraft. Human beings who have been drawn into some abstruse other reality and who have transformed as a result of some arcane eldritch influence. Find that a lot. Okay, so this is what we want. This lever here. If you look down there, you see, there's the giant brain of Mensis. The brain of Mensis is a great one. It's a great one that was either caught and trapped here when the nightmare coalesced as a result of the ritual of Mensis, or it was created here synthetically. Look at the state of it. It is one of the most malformed, grotesque of the great ones. But there it goes. Now we can actually explore Mensis without that hideous glow that causes frenzy, casting its baleful influence all over the feckin' place. So that's good. That's good. It's not dead, by the by. It isn't dead. No. There are things that we have to do with that first. Okay, so lots of Great One's wisdom here. Lots of stuff. Look, all of these are corpses that were killed by the frenzy induced by the gaze of the brain of Mensis. It seems to imply that the brain of Mensis is the source of the Winter Lanterns, though how that is the case, I don't know. The fact that the Winter Lanterns appear to be corrupted versions of the doll is interesting. You can extrapolate so much from that. That's where it fell, down into that pit. And look, it looks like the eyes come from it somehow. It looks as though the eyes come from the brain, as though they kind of fruit from it in the manner of fungus. Maybe that's how the Winter Lanterns occur. They are like the corrupted dolls of particular dreams or nightmares that are being experienced, yeah? Maybe in the minds of those who have been driven mad. by the gaze of the brain of Mensis. It's so weird. There's so much storytelling and mythology you can extrapolate from the imagery in this game. In that regard, it's a nigh perfect example of visual storytelling and of myth making. It's absolutely stunning in that regard. And an experiment that, barring really the other Dark Souls games, and even they don't do it as well as Bloodborne does, I can't imagine it being done as well again. That said, if anyone can prove me wrong, you know, it's the creators of this game, definitely. So, you know, I look forward to it. I look forward to whatever comes next. I want to see DLC, goddammit. I know that there is already DLC. There's the Old Hunters DLC, and we're going to be doing that a little later, by the way, because that's one of the few things we've left hanging. But more DLC. I'm surprised that there's only one DLC for this game. You know, if they released a DLC for this game now, it would sell like hotcakes. People would go nuts. It would be one of the biggest downloads you could possibly imagine. Where is the adversary, by the way? They haven't left my game, because it would tell me if they had, and they haven't died. So where are they? I'm sure they'll turn up. Now, this is where the brain of Mensis fell. It's like... Oh, look, can you see it in the dark? Oh, there it is. And it's lost its influence. And this is a massive secret. The only way you would find this is if you find that weird concourse that leads to the lever, pull the lever, and then find the weird lift that appears and come down here. Remember this? Remember the... Oh, you bastard! What was that? Oh, it's the adversary! Fuck! Oh, he's down here! Oh, you... You know what? Well played. Well played. That was a very clever place to hide, I've got to say. Down here beyond the level of the nightmare. Okay, I'm just going to get back here. So... Remember the make contact gesture that we found in the Cathedral ward, the upper Cathedral ward? What you need to do is stand in front of the brain and just hold the make contact pose for a good while. And whilst you're doing that, something is happening. Listen. Can you hear that? It's beating like a heart. It's so weird. It's so strange. This Great One is entirely passive. It's not only the most malformed, it's entirely passive. It has no physical attacks. The only thing it could do was cast Frenzy on you. It's such a lunatic creature that its gaze alone could cause madness. But even that's gone now. It's fallen beyond the level of the nightmare. It's now in the firmament, in the nothing, the abyss beyond, and so are we. In New Game Plus it gives you Great One's Wisdom. In the main game it gives you a unique rune, which is really cool, but we've already got it. So now we can free the brain of Mensis from this level of the dream by blatting it. The ritual of Mensis trapped it here. We're going to free it by destroying it. And as you can see, it doesn't defend itself. Even if it can, it doesn't. Meaning that I believe it wants this. It wants to be free. It's a tormented, tortured entity. It wants shot of the Nightmare of Mensis, as all the Great Ones do. Mergo, the Mergo's wet nurse, all of them want to be free of this place. Yeah, it takes a while. It's quite tough, but we've got quite a good weapon here. Someone calling there. And we get the living string from that. The living string is a ritual item that allows us to use the last of the chalices, I believe. Create the last of the chalice dungeon, so that's pretty cool. Oh, whomp. Yeah. Okay, so that's that done. There's not much left, actually, in the Nightmare of Mensis. You've seen the rest of it, so I do believe we'll come back here. This is the lead up to Mergo's wet nurse. You remember these guys? these are the Shadows of Yharnam, and they're here in the Nightmare of Mensis. I don't know what that implies. They're not the same, by the way. They don't have the snake infestation of the previous ones. So I don't know what that implies. The fact that they're here at all. They seem to be guardians of certain areas of the nightmare. They were certainly guardians of Byrgenwerth. Here they seem to be defending Mergo. Maybe that's what they were doing outside of Byrgenwerth. They were trying to prevent over-curious delvers like me from finding the secrets of that place and reaching the various stages of the nightmare. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know where the Shadows of Yharnam come from or what they're for. There's not much lore about them or their origins. But oh, there's Mergo. Oh, and there's a pig. Don't know what that's doing here. This is a different type of pig, though. This is very different from the man-eater boars we've already encountered. It's much tougher, and if you look around the front of it, its head is festooned with eyes. Absolutely festooned with eyes. Maybe the implication is that it's part of the experiments of Mensis. Maybe one of the animals that they experimented on in order to gain insight or cultivate insight, or maybe it's one of the students, maybe it's one of the human beings who have been caught in the nightmare that has devolved. I don't know, it's hard to say. I loved this area so much. I actually, if you read my up-and-coming short story collection, for sanity's sake, there is actually a short story based on this area. This concept of there being like layers of dreaming, multiple realities that are created from layers of dreaming. I love that notion. Here's the bell ringing woman. She's the one who's calling other players in, but we've got to be careful because she's protected. Look, Shadows of Yharnam are here protecting her. Right, you. Fortunately, these shadows are nowhere near as tough as those bosses in the Forbidden Woods. Nowhere near. Right, let's get him first. It was this that inspired my short story. The fact that he is staring out, look, over the nothingness, the firmament that the dream is made on. I just loved that. I loved that to bits. I thought that was so weird and so unusual. Way, the bell ringing woman has left. Yes, she has. No, she didn't leave. She was murdered by me. She was hacked to bits by me. So no more players coming in. This is basically just the run up to Mergo's loft, where we fought the wet nurse. And look at this. There's like a whole pack of them up here. But they're not that tough. Don't tackle them all at once, obviously. Just draw them off from one another. And then hit them one at a time. And then they're done. Come on, you. I mean, at this stage, they're just not that tough. They're really not. You still got to be careful, though. Don't get arrogant. That's one of the best bits of advice I can give for these games. The minute you start being arrogant is the minute you get killed by, like, the smallest, least likely enemy imaginable. Okay, you. Aha! Gotcha. They're so vulnerable to the viscerals. It's unbelievable. And if you, by the way, this area of the game, if you want to level up, this is it. If you want to grind, this area is amazing. The pigs give, I think, like 5,000 blood echoes a piece, and these guys give tons. Just do runs of this area over and over. Look at him. Look at the eyes. He's got tons of eyes on him. So these pigs have insight, which is weird. And they're really tough. I mean, they're actually really... No, look at the googly eyes. They are really, really tough enemies. They can kill you in a couple of hits, these guys. But I fought them a lot, so I'm alright. After I've showed you this area, this neglected area of Mensis, we're gonna go do the Hunter's Nightmare, the DLC, before we do the end of the game. The DLC, the Hunter's Nightmare, is the hardest part of the game. It is well named as a nightmare. It just assumes that you've gone through the game proper, so it throws everything at you. It has the hardest bosses, it has the hardest runs, it is such a difficult area, but it's beautiful. In fact, it's probably my favourite area in this entire game. God, look how many blood echoes we got for that! That is insane! Jesus! Yeah, this area is amazing for levelling up. I just love this, the way it's like a twisted reflection of the academia of the College of Mensis. This is the nightmare they created. This little self-contained reality where they could conduct their arcane experiments and explore the great ones that they trapped here. It's incredible. Incredible notion. As I say, if there are villains or antagonists in this game, and that is a very shaky notion in this game, it's the College of Mensis, definitely. Oh ho ho, who is this? We know this lady. Oh look, there's where we came in. It's Yharnam. It's the Lady Yharnam. Staring up. Oh look, the blood. That's where her child Mergo was taken from her. And this isn't really her, this is a phantom. And she's staring up at the loft up there. She's basically telling you what has to happen. What needs to be done. Which is, of course, the freeing of Mergo, her child, who is trapped here in the Nightmare of Mensis. And Mergo is one of the last of the pure Great Ones. He is the child of Erden, who is the unseen father of all the Great Ones, of all the gods, I suppose, if such a thing means anything in this mythology, you know? They're gods in the same way that the gods in Lovecraft's mythology are gods. They are actually sort of like extra-dimensional entities that operate on some other plane of existence. So there you go. You've seen basically all of the Nightmare of Mensis now. I just wanted to do that for completion's sake. Now, what we're going to do, we're just going to go and have a look at one of the other areas here. And then we are going to go and do the Hunter's Nightmare. Which is one of my favourite areas in the entire game. Oh, still here, Mergo. Now, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? Where are we now? Ah, yes. There she is, the Lady Yharnam. And if we look up here, follow her basically. She's kind of guiding you. It's so weird. She's kind of guiding you. It's very, very peculiar. And if we look here, look, the scholars of Mensis, they are here. They're gathered here and awaiting our pleasure, as it were. Okay, my loves, this is it. This is the very height of the Nightmare of Mensis, and if you look, there's a baby carriage in the centre of this strange expanse. Oh dear. That's Mergo. Oh dear. He is protected, however. There is a great one here. And its purpose is to protect Mergo. This is Mergo's wet nurse. This thing is protecting the infant Mergo and preventing anyone from reaching him. It's hard to say what its motivations are, this thing. Is it protecting Mergo kind of mindlessly because that's what it's supposed to do? Or is it aware that by protecting Mergo, it's keeping him trapped here? Is it like in cahoots with the scholars of Mensis? It's hard to say. Listen, Can you hear that? The theme tune is Mergo's Lullaby, and it's the same theme tune. Do you remember when we fought Gascoigne and his daughter gave us a music box to pacify him, and she said that sometimes this is what her father listens to quiet himself, to calm himself? That music box also played the lullaby of Mergo, and if you listen throughout the game, you'll hear different variations and versions of Mergo's Lullaby all the way through. All of the great ones, all of their theme tunes have Mergo's Lullaby in them somewhere, or permutations of them. It's so cool, isn't it? It's a beautiful creature, this one. Not a difficult boss, actually. When I first played this game, I killed this the first time I fought it. It's actually a really easy boss in comparison to some. It's kind of slow. It does a lot of damage, and it has, when it does this, it's very tricky. But by and large, it's kind of easy. What you need to do is run around the perimeter whilst the fog lasts, because the thing will just create clones of itself that will slaughter you if you stay still. So just run. Just run away from it. But in terms of design, this is one of my favourite creatures of the game. It is absolutely beautiful, Mergo's wet nurse. And the implication of it, you know, the notion that this thing is here to protect and sustain the infant Mergo, but in doing so, it's preventing Mergo from transcending, from becoming an adult, from becoming the great one it was supposed to be. That's really interesting, isn't it? And it's also, in so doing, holding the nightmare in place, because it's Mergo that's holding the nightmare aloft now. Certainly now that Mikolash is dead, or rather has woken up. God, it's just like a walking lawnmower, this thing, isn't it? The amount of blades and things it has. If you look at it really carefully, it doesn't have any form, like a lot of the great ones. It's just an empty cloak. All the jewels and all the robes are basically empty. Even the wings and the arms are made of rags. It's formless, like Mergo himself. But it's swathed in a form. Which is kind of interesting, right? I mean, maybe this was called down and put here by the scholars of Mensis in order to pacify Mergo, or to keep him here, yeah? Maybe that's the case. It's very difficult to say. You can extrapolate so much in terms of story from this game, and for someone who has an overactive imagination, it's just catnip. It really is. It's the best thing. More stories like this, please. In video games, certainly more stories like this, because it's a medium that's so well positioned to be telling stories like this, and I'm not sure it can be done in any other medium, you know? This for me is an example, like Pathologic 2, like Dark Souls, like Dark Wood. This is an example of video games coming into their own as a visual medium, as an immersive medium of storytelling. It's incredible. It's incredible stuff. I think it's going to be a very long time before another game takes Bloodborne's place for me. It really is. Alongside Pathologic 2, it is like top 3 best games of all time, easily. Easily. There are very few that I enjoy playing as much. I mean, I love Pathologic 2 for what it is, but Pathologic 2 isn't a game that you enjoy playing. In fact, it's not designed for that. It's designed to make you so you don't enjoy it. That's part of the experience. It's supposed to make you feel desolate and frustrated and desperate, you know? Nearly done. Down it goes. Kind of an easy boss. Kind of an easy boss. Listen. Superb. Mergo's cries cease. He disperses. And we get this message. Nightmare slain. And from Mergo, we get the third umbilical cord. How cool is that? So that is what will allow us to access the end of the game. Or rather, the end of the game that I want. Let's take it, shall we? I think we've devoured the others, so let's devour this one. Yeah. Use. Yes. There we go. I mean, that's probably the most straightforward of the umbilical cords, because you're always going to get that one, because it is on the main path of the game. The others, you need to do all sorts of weird chicanery in order to find them. You really do. Oh, and look! The hunter's nightmare has shifted into it. The hunter's dream has shifted into its next phase. It's burning down. Because it's not needed anymore.
Good hunter, you have come.
I have.
Dawn will soon break. This night and this dream will end.
Mm-hmm.
Gammon awaits you at the foot of the great tree.
Gammon, yeah. Remember Gammon in his wheelchair? Gammon is the one who is holding this nightmare in place. So he's the one we need to face in order to end it. He is to the hunter's dream what Mikolash was to the nightmare of Mensis. He's holding it in place with the aid of a great one. But before we do that, there's a lot that we need to do. Don't worry, we're not done yet. We're nowhere near done. We need to go to the Cathedral ward, I believe, before we do anything. Although we can go and do the end of the game now, if we want. And there are lots of different endings to this game, but we're going to go for the one I always go for because it's my favourite. The one where you transcend. It's got to be that one. The thing with the others is they kind of make everything you've experienced... They're very dark because they make everything you've experienced impotent. So in one, you wake. You do exactly what you're supposed to do. You wake. Yes, it's all gone very quiet now. It's all gone very, very quiet now. There's nothing left. Yeah, a peep to be heard. I love him. He's one of the only characters in this game who's actually on the level, who's actually nice. I mean, and the irony is because he doesn't seem it, because he seems creepy, you don't trust him. You don't trust him all the way through the game. And he's nice. He's a decent guy. We'll come back to these guys a little later because there is a story arc with these guys. I've got coffee, by the way. Sounds like she could use, maybe not coffee. It sounds like she's jumpy enough. Maybe a cup of soothing tea. Did we do Adela? We've already sorted Adela out, haven't we? With her bouncing a bambino. Oh, did I already include this bit? I think I included this in the last video, didn't I? Oh well, it's fine. You can see it again. There you are. There's her bouncing a baby bambino.
It can't be.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nightmare.
Yeah. She's given birth to a great one. Remember when it said, and a womb will be cursed with child? Well, there it is. And this is how we get the other umbilical cord, by the way. Yeah. That's harder than it looks, you know. Ariana's slippers. It's harder to get to this point than it seems. You need to keep her alive, for one thing, which is actually really difficult. She can die any number of ways. And you need to ensure that her story arc follows the right path. Because if you don't, she ends up dead in various ways. In one of them, the nun of the Holy Church there that we rescued from Yargul, she gets jealous of her and she murders her. Because she has this sort of righteous fit and kills her. Did we do this story arc last time? I can't remember. But there is a story arc that we need to have a look at. Let's just go and have a look. God, in New Game Plus, that big burning boulder does not kill these guys. Whereas in the normal game, it kills them outright. It kills them all. But then again, everything is so much tougher in New Game Plus. I mean, there is New Game Plus Plus and New Game Plus 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 as well. It just keeps getting harder. It keeps going on. I mean, a lot of Bloodborne players like to carry on playing, you know? Just as a test of their mettle. Alright. We're going to go and visit Gascoigne's daughter. Or rather, the last daughter. He had two. Of course, when last we left her, if you remember, we informed her that her sister had been eaten by a giant pig. And then she went quite mad. So let's go and see how that's turning out, shall we? Probably not well. This is actually quite a difficult story arc to maintain as well. There's a lot that can go wrong with these story arcs. There's a lot of stuff you can do to sort of derail them. It's not as bad as Dark Souls 3 in that regard, but here we are. Okay, let me kill this guy and then I'll show you. Can you see her? The implication, the little girl is on the floor there. And the implication is that after we told her her sister had died, she committed suicide. Joyous game, eh? It's, and we get the white messenger ribbon. Lovely. We have been nothing to this family but the footstep of doom, have we? We've been nothing but a horror to this family. I mean, we murdered Gascoigne, the father, and we told the little girl that her mother had been killed by her father, which she didn't believe apparently, because she went out in search of them. Then she ended up getting eaten by a giant pig. We retrieved her ribbon from its stomach and showed her sister, which then drove her mad, and then she committed suicide. So, yeah. Innocence really isn't any defense in Bloodborne. Or in any of these games, you know? The innocent must suffer in these mythologies, and I kind of love that, I've got to say. I kind of love it. For a game that has this ethos and this sort of like almost steampunky faux Victorian motif about it, you don't expect that kind of thing. It's so sincerely grim and dark and unpleasant. I love it. I love how unremittingly horrible the whole thing is. Right, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go do the Hunter's Nightmare. And we've also changed our clothes. Let's go do it. Now, to reach the Hunter's Nightmare, what you need... it's Amygdala! We love him. What we need to do is go here. If you let him grab you before this, it just kills you. But now...
Curse Daphnes, their children too. And their children forever true.
Remember that rhyme, by the way. That rhyme is going to come back to haunt us. Ooh. So this is the Hunter's Nightmare. It's a twisted nightmare realm that's created by... It's sort of almost like accrued or coagulated from the collective sin and guilt of Byrgenwerth, the Hunters, and the Healing Church. All three of those institutions are guilty of atrocities. And this is the result of that. Hunters, when they go mad with blood, end up here in the Hunter's Nightmare. And it's like this weird nightmare agglomeration of, look at the sickly sun. Oh god, that's so cool. The image is beautiful, isn't it? It's like an agglomeration of twisted versions of areas from the main game, as well as lots of new areas as well. It's probably the most twisted, hellish area, and to give you an idea of how difficult it is, the normal enemies here are hunters. The hardest enemies in the game. So, yeah, this is a difficult thing, my loves. These are just the standard enemies here. Blood-mad hunters who have been driven mad by their own guilt and their own bloodlust. They are drawn here into the hunter's nightmare, into basically a hell of their own making, and they can't get out. There's no waking from the hunter's nightmare. As you can see, this is like a twisted version of Yharnam, with strange flora and fauna sprouting from it. That's another bit of the symbolism you should pay attention to, by the way. The different types of flower and weed and plant and fungus all symbolize different things and different influences. Look, there's a hunter, and there are beasts here, and he slaughters them. The beasts here are not the thing, my loves. It's designed to show you that what you want to watch out for here, it's the hunters, not the beasts. Although there's plenty of beasts too. And the hunters here are tough, I'm telling you. They are nasty pieces of work. There is one hunter here who's a boss who is one of the hardest in the game. And in fact, my favourite confrontation in the entire game. Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. She is one of the most beautiful encounters in any of these games. Possibly the perfect fight, in the sense that every step of it is like a dance. It's elegant, it's balanced, it's so beautiful. Look at this. That's the Cathedral ward, look. It's a twisted version of the Cathedral ward that's infested with beasts. All of this is created from the sins of the hunters, and of Byrgenwerth, and of the Healing Church. And we get to see, as we progress, we get to see the secrets that they've buried here, that they don't want anyone else to discover. We get to see the truth of the Healing Church, for one thing. And believe me, that is a dark and desolate truth. It's probably one of the most horrific things in this entire game, and in a game that's full of horrors, that's some going, you know? There is even a version in the Hunter's Nightmare towards the end of Innsmouth, Lovecraft's fishing village. There is a version of Innsmouth in this game, the fishing hamlet. And it's the final area of the Hunter's Nightmare where all the sins of Byrgenwerth and of the Healing Church are basically laid bare. And believe me, they're not just horrific in terms of their morality, it's in terms of the metaphysics, what they've actually done to create this entire situation, the hunter's dream, the nightmare, the constant cycle of metaphysics that the hunters pass through. All of that was born here by a particular sin, and it's truly disgusting. It's really awful. You know, it makes you realize that the hunters, the Healing Church, Byrgenwerth, they're all repulsive. They're all vile. And we are, as an outsider, as a sort of filthy foreigner, if you like, we're the one who sets it right. We're the one who sets it right. Remember, bear in mind, at the beginning of the game, when our hunter turns up, we are a foreigner to Yharnam. We've come here seeking the blood ministration. We don't really know anything else about our hunter other than the fact that he's not from Yharnam, because the Yharnamites consistently tell us so. They keep calling us filthy outsider and whatnot. I'm wearing, by the way, the Knight's outfit from Canehurst, because it is actually my favourite in this game. It looks beautiful. I love a coat with tails, don't you? These guys aren't too bad. These are some of the easier hunters. Oh shit! Is there another hunter behind me? I think there might be. Something is firing at me. I'm wearing the knight's outfit with Gascoigne's hat because I think it goes really well with the Ashen Hunter gloves. Oh no, it was that! It was the gun emplacement that was firing at me. There's another hunter up here. This guy is so difficult. It's a much heavier form of hunter who has this big blazing hammer. He's very difficult indeed. And may end up killing us, in fact. Let's kill these guys. He'll come down in a moment. Here he is. Here he is. Look at that! He's got the boom hammer. It's a hammer with a furnace in it. Oh my god! Well, that went well, didn't it? Look at him! Good god. Yeah, he's tough. He's really tough. Right, let's try that again, shall we? I think it's hunters killing the beasts that's giving me those blood echoes, I think. Oh, he's back. Let's deal with him before we do anything. I love the weapon they use. I've got that, by the way. The Beast Cutter, as it's called. Alongside the Holy Moonlight Sword, that is actually one of my favourite weapons in this game. What tends to happen in Bloodborne is all of the weapons are equally useful. They just all have different fighting styles. There's no one that's stronger than another. A lot of people go through the entire game with the first weapon you come across, the big cleaver thing, because that's the one they get used to. There's the Beast Cutter. What tends to happen is you find the one that suits your playing style. That's how you do it. Oh, he's back. Alrighty ho. I'm gonna head up here. Oh, beasts! But if you look up there, hey! Oh, I love it. I really do. There's a lot of tricksy things like that in the Hunter's Nightmare, where you've got to know what's going on in the environment, otherwise you just keep getting killed over and over and over. This is the entrance to the Grand Cathedral. Remember where Vicar Amelia was? It's not anymore. Molotov's nice. This is our first encounter with these guys. These gigantic creatures. Right, before I do anything, I'm just going to go and have a look at this guy. Look at him. He's incredible, isn't he? Oh, look. If you look in their faces, there's like a grill with the cosmos inside of it. Oh, well, that went well. Look. It's so cool, isn't it? They are some sort of church guardian. If you look, they wear the robes of the Healing Church, but they have the stature and weapons of executioners. But they've become corrupted and infested somehow by something truly out of this world, truly Lovecraftian. This is, or was, the Grand Cathedral, but it's a bit different now. This is where we fought Vicar Amelia in the Waking World, but look, there's something else here now. This is the final resting place of none other than this gentleman. This is Lawrence, the first vicar, the founder of the Healing Church. We found him. This is where he came to rest, and this is what became of him. He, like practically every scion of the church, became this giant, twisted monster. And don't worry, yes, you can fight him. He's an optional boss, because he's on a level pegging with one of the other hardest bosses in this DLC, which makes them both the hardest bosses in this game. Him and Ludwig. We'll be fighting Ludwig first, though. I'll come back and do Lawrence. I can't wake him yet, anyway. Oh, fuck! That didn't go very well, did it? these things seem to be guardians of the nightmare. I don't know, like, quite what lore or mythology they have, other than the fact that by their garb they are clearly... Oh, that's Yamamura's hat. I quite like that. What do we want now? Yeah, let's put something on a little bit tougher, shall we? Because we're going to be heading into a pretty hard area very soon. So we want something with a few more stats. Normally I don't bother about like the armor values or whatever, but we are going to be heading into a pretty unpleasant area soon. So I might pay it a little more mind than usual. But yeah, you can tell by their garb, these were once white church hunters. What's happened to them while they were here is anyone's guess. Or what has altered or transformed them. Hard to say. Hard to say. But clearly they've transcended to some other condition. I mean, if you look into their eyes, into their face, there's nothing there but the cosmos. Look at this. Oh, listen. The Great Bell. That is significant. This area is really tough when you first wander into it. Look at this. Corpse of an amygdala. The fossilized corpse of an amygdala. I don't know what that implies. Other than the fact that we know that the amygdala come from a higher level of the nightmare. Because we met them there. We fought one, remember? In the Nightmare Frontier, which is a higher area of the nightmare itself. If you look, when you're in the Nightmare Frontier, if you go to the edge of the cliffs and look down, you can see the masts of ships rising up through the fog from the lower areas of the nightmare, and that we will find that very soon. We will actually find that. The implication is that the amygdala fell from another layer of the dream, I believe, and that's really cool. Look at this, there's a blood river. It's gross. This whole area is disgusting, actually. It's really unpleasant. We're heading for the clock tower. Remember the clock tower that we saw in the Upper Cathedral Ward? There's a version of it here. It's called the Astral clock tower, and it's a gateway. It's a gateway to another plane of the nightmare. It's sealed off, though. Bergenworth and the Healing Church sealed off that layer of the nightmare so that the sins of both would never be uncovered, they would never be discovered. Because if they were, and if someone took those secrets back to the waking world, oh, it would be the end of the Healing Church. It would be the end of everything. Yharnam, all of it would come down. All of it would be ended. I tell you what, the Organ of Ebrietas it makes short work of hunters, I'll tell you that. It's borderline unfair. It's borderline broken against hunters. I mean, look at this, he can't even reach me. And I feel no shame in this, I can tell you. No shame whatsoever. Ah! He's throwing timed Molotovs. Yeah, these are so cool. These are the, they're sort of degenerate versions of the villagers from Yharnam. I'd assume just like normal people who have been drawn into the nightmare. Somehow, who've sort of blundered their way in. Or who have become blood mad themselves, and have therefore found a way in. Look at this, it's so cool. Arrgh. It's the Hunter's Nightmare is a brilliant area. It's so well designed. And it's so evocative. I mean, like all the areas in Bloodborne. Remember this place? This is like a twisted, almost like Funhouse mirror version of it. It's one of the first buildings you find in Yharnam. But rendered a bit different now. Ah! God. Gotcha! Okay, should we go out this way? Or should we go the other way? Could go out that way. Let's explore down here first. I think... out of the shadows there. Do you remember him? The guy in the wheelchair? He won't attack us this time, but something else will happen. Right, we need to pick up the item, I think. So... listen. Do you hear it ticking? Boom! It's a little trap. That's the boom hammer. It's a really good weapon. I never quite got used to it myself, but it's a very good heavy weapon. A lot of people favour that one. Mega damage. If you work that one up, just insane amounts of damage you get from that. Frenzy. Oh no, the Canehurst ticks are here too. Not good. Right, I'm just going to run through and activate the shortcut before I do anything. I'm not going to fight these guys. I'm just going to run and activate the shortcut. There's a key character down here as well, Simon, who is one of the sane hunters here. There he is.
You're a hunter with your sanity, aren't you?
Relative term.
Must have taken a wrong turn, then, eh?
I don't know about that.
Well, we're more alike than you think. This is the hunter's nightmare, where hunters end up when drunk with blood.
Well, that isn't me.
You've seen them before. Aimless, wandering hunters slavering like beasts.
Oh yeah, I've seen him.
This is what the poor fools have to look forward to.
Yep.
Don't be brash. Turn back before it's too late.
I don't know. I'm not sure I can.
Something of an interest in nightmares.
Nightmares are fascinating. Yes.
I see. You sense a secret within the nightmare and cannot bear to leave it be.
Mm-hmm.
As if the spirit of Bergenworth lives on within you. Such inquisitive hunters will relish the nightmare. But beware. Secrets are secrets for a reason. And some do not wish to see them uncovered.
Oh, it's true.
Especially when the secrets are particularly unseemly.
Mm-hmm.
Beware. Secrets are especially...
Yeah. Okay, so he's basically sort of hinting at what's to come, yeah? It's one of the more story-driven areas, actually. It does exactly what a DLC is supposed to do. It layers in, it adds on to the main game, and also to the main story. Right. The stuff that we need to do up here. And quite a few little secrets to find in this area. Including some very, very, very tough enemies to fight. Constable's gloves, those are quite good. Right, what could we wear? Because I like this armor, but it's good, but I don't like the look of it. I don't like how it looks. Black church garb, maybe? Can maybe wear the black church garb. It's a little bit more in keeping with my particular tastes. Although the hunter garb is good. Yeah, the hunter garb is brilliant. That's actually one of the first you find in the game as well. Just a good all-rounder. Yeah, I think we'll wear that. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Love it. Proper Victorian gentleman. Or Yarnum gentleman, as it were. Okay, we need to get rid of these guys because they're going to be pains otherwise. Isn't that right, sir? The Hunter's Nightmare is also one of those areas where you don't need to fight everybody. You know, there's sort of like a standard in Bloodborne, and in all of these games where you just like wander through the various areas and clear them out. You don't need to do that here. In fact, it would be entirely antithetical to your interests to do so, because some of the enemies are just too tough. It's best to avoid them if you can. Like those big guardian things with the cosmos in their faces. Don't try to fight them. They're just ridiculously tough. Tougher than some of the bosses in this game, actually. So just don't bother. They're easy enough to avoid. Ow! Good God. This is not going well. That's more like it. But I do want to get past these guys. I want to get past them so I can reach one of the other beasties in this area. Okay. What I'm trying to do is get them to disengage and go back to their passive conditions, because then I can come up behind them and stab them in the back. They're not very observant, as you can see. Look, they're staring off across the blood river, which is good for me. Gotcha. To you too. Oh, now one of them is dead. The other one should be a cake. They're not that tough, these guys, actually. As hunters go, these guys are not so bad. Right, I'm just going to get this item. Then I'm going to run, and there's an enemy that I want to fight. Just back where we came from. Oof, just want to avoid those tick things. There's the Canehurst creatures. Ugh. Again, no point in fighting them if you don't have to. There's just no point. Okay, he's through here. Just through here. Okay. Beast. Ah, yes. Oops, slightly choppy edit there. Ha! He's a hunter who has the beast transformation. He's really tough as well. If you get a particular rune and a particular weapon, you can have this moveset. You can become like this. You need the beast claw and a particular rune. I think it's a rune that he gives you, actually. And then you can actually have this moveset. It's one of the rare transformations that totally transforms the way you play the game. There are two in the game. There's this one, the beast transformation, and the kin transformation. And I'm well on my way to getting the kin transformation as well, actually. Whoa! God, he's tough. Quite fragile. You know, he's easy enough to hit, but by God, he doesn't half deal out the damage. If you let him get a combo off on you, he can kill you really quickly. And because his moveset is so unusual, he's actually very, very difficult to predict. So you've got to be careful with him. You've got to be careful. But being a hunter, he's a one-shot deal. Once he's dead, he's dead. There he goes. That's him gone. Excellent. Bolt Hunter's Mark. And the Beast Rune, I believe, is somewhere around here. Oh, maybe I've already got it, of course, because this is New Game Plus. So I could actually become that creature, or something like it, if I wanted to. It's not a style of play I favour, though. It's very difficult to get used to. I prefer the kin transformation, actually, which is really interesting. I'll show you that a little later on. Okie dokes, my loves. I think for now, that's it. We're going to run up here past all these guys, and we're going to enter this weird blood cave up here, which is well out of the way. Kill the Scrabbly! Kill the Scrabbly! And when we come back, my loves, we're going to deal with a very particular and unpleasant encounter. This hunter right up here. Until then, my loves, bye-bye!